The divorce papers were never slammed onto a courtroom table, and there were no screaming matches, shattered glasses, or dramatic goodbyes. Instead, on a quiet autumn morning in Boston, Massachusetts, Grace Bennett folded one final sweater into a small suitcase, removed her wedding ring, placed it gently beside a handwritten letter, and walked out of the billion-dollar mansion she had once called home. Behind those towering gates remained unimaginable wealth, luxury cars, private staff, and the man the world admired. But the one thing Grace had searched for during 8 lonely years of marriage, respect, had never lived inside that house. Sometimes the loudest heartbreak is the one that happens in complete silence. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel, Kindness Forever. Your support helps us bring more heartfelt stories that remind the world compassion still exists. Grace had met Nathan Carter long before his company became one of the most successful technology corporations in America. They had been ordinary young dreamers in Seattle, Washington, sharing inexpensive meals, celebrating tiny victories, and promising they would always face life together. When Nathan's business exploded into a billion-dollar success, their modest apartment was replaced by a breathtaking estate, and their simple routines disappeared beneath endless business meetings, charity galas, and magazine interviews. The wealth transformed everything around them, but slowly it also transformed Nathan. He never became cruel with harsh words or violence. Instead, he mastered something even more painful, making Grace feel invisible. Every important decision was made without her. Every family gathering became another opportunity for people to praise Nathan while Grace stood quietly in the background like another elegant decoration in the room. She smiled for photographs, hosted lavish dinners, and wore expensive dresses, yet every evening she felt more alone than she had ever felt in her life. Grace spent years convincing herself that tomorrow would be different. She believed another anniversary, another vacation, or another heartfelt letter might remind Nathan of the woman who had stood beside him before the fame and fortune. She volunteered at local shelters, helped struggling families, and quietly donated to children's education programs, hoping that filling other people's lives with hope would somehow heal the emptiness growing inside her own heart. Yet every night she returned to a mansion where silence echoed louder than any conversation. Nathan never noticed how her smile faded a little more each season. The absence of appreciation slowly became heavier than any argument could have been. Everything changed during a charity banquet in New York City. Grace stood beside Nathan while reporters celebrated his latest business achievement. During his acceptance speech, he thanked investors, executives, lawyers, and business partners for helping him build his empire. As applause filled the grand ballroom, Grace waited, not for praise, but simply for acknowledgement that she had once believed in him before anyone else did. Her name never came. She smiled through the cameras while something inside her quietly broke forever. No one noticed the tears she wiped away before returning home. That evening Grace looked around the magnificent mansion one final time. Every expensive painting, crystal chandelier, and polished marble floor suddenly felt empty. She realized she had sacrificed years protecting a marriage that existed only in public photographs. Self-respect, she understood, could never be purchased with unlimited money. Before sunrise she packed only what she had brought into the marriage, left her wedding ring beside a short letter wishing Nathan peace, and walked away without asking for a single dollar. The newspapers exploded with rumors. Television commentators guessed about scandals, betrayals, and secret affairs. None of them knew the truth. Grace rented a small apartment in Portland, Oregon, found work at a neighborhood community center, and began rebuilding her life from the ground up. The first months were difficult. She questioned every decision and often cried herself to sleep. Yet each morning she woke knowing the person in the mirror belonged to herself again. She laughed with co-workers, planted flowers outside her apartment, and discovered that happiness often grows in places where pride has been replaced by peace. Meanwhile Nathan finally experienced something his wealth could not solve. The mansion felt colder than ever before. Business victories suddenly seemed meaningless without someone waiting to celebrate them. As he reread Grace's final letter, he realized she had never accused him of betrayal or demanded revenge. She had simply written that love without respect eventually becomes loneliness, and loneliness should never be mistaken for marriage. For the first time in years, Nathan understood the price of taking someone's quiet devotion for granted. Months later, Nathan visited the community center where Grace worked. He saw children running toward her with joyful smiles and elderly neighbors thanking her for changing their lives. Grace looked happier wearing simple clothes than she ever had wearing designer gowns. Nathan recognized that the woman he once overlooked had found something greater than luxury. She had found herself. He apologized sincerely, not expecting forgiveness or another chance, but because accepting responsibility was the least he owed her. Grace listened peacefully, wished him well, and walked back inside to continue helping others. She carried no anger anymore because she had already reclaimed the one thing she thought she had lost forever, her dignity. If this story has touched your heart, please support our channel by liking this video, sharing it with your friends and family, leaving your thoughts in the comments, and subscribing to Kindness Forever so more inspiring stories can reach people who need hope. Special request: please comment below with the words, "Self-respect always comes first," if you believe no amount of money is worth losing your dignity. Grace never became famous, and she never returned to the billionaire lifestyle. Instead, she built a meaningful life filled with genuine friendships, purpose, and quiet joy. Nathan continued leading his company, but he carried one lesson that every fortune in the world could not erase: love survives challenges, but it cannot survive a lifetime without respect. Sometimes the strongest person is not the one who fights to stay. Sometimes true courage belongs to the one who walks away in silence, not because love has disappeared, but because self-respect has finally awakened. And in that quiet goodbye, Grace discovered the freedom, peace, and happiness she had been searching for all along.